Hello and welcome to CB Talk, the Combined Transport Blackwell Monthly Podcast. Today is November 21st, 2025, and I'm your host, Nick Card, Vice President of Operations. We have a really exciting interview coming up. We've got Mike Muhlnickel and Scott LaFever, two of our drivers here, to talk about their experience over the road. I think it's something that everybody's going to really enjoy because it's something a little different for the program. But before we get to the interview, let's go to the news. Our drivers of the month this month: Nate Breland in Glass and Flatbed, William Reyes in Blackwell, Andrew Shelley in Heavy Haul. Thanks, you guys, and congratulations. In the office, our employee of the month is Kevin Strong. Our safety topic of the month this month is snow chains. Weather is getting snowy out there. Make sure you are checking your chains so that you have a compliant amount of chains on your equipment, and make sure you know how to use your chains. If you don't know how to install chains, we've got a little demo set up that you can do here. Our supervisors are happy to walk you through it, give you techniques, and make sure you follow all the laws for chaining when you run into that situation. In the news, the biggest story is that CDLs, English proficient CDLs, and legal worker CDLs are been the big focus of the Trump administration. Secretary Duffy has been pushing on California. California recently withdrew 17,000 CDLs that were improperly issued. So we're seeing a number of drivers who are being pulled off the road because they're either illegal immigrants, they are not English proficient, or they don't have work authorization. So that's a big developing story over the next few months. Also in the news, cargo thefts are down, but cargo theft valuation is staying constant. We've talked about cargo theft in the past. These cargo thefts are organized cartels or Russian mafia type operations. We have seen increasing thefts in major hotspots like New York City metro area or New Jersey, California and Texas around the major ports. We're seeing a focus on meats and seafoods. Copper and just in general food and beverage continues to be the highest theft category. So especially for those Blackwell drivers out there, make sure you have your trailer locked, make sure you know where you're parking, make sure you're in a situation so you're not going to be a victim of these kinds of thefts. And with that, it's time for the interview. Well, joining me today in the studio, this is a very exciting episode. I've got two of our drivers here with us. First, we've got Scott LaFever. Scott's been with Blackwell running reefer for 4 years. I hear you build fishing rods.
I do.
Great to have you, Scott.
Thank you.
And I've got Mike Muhlnickel here. Mike has been with Combined for over 20 years, one of our glass haulers, longtime coach. And I learned today you do karaoke in your free time. Good to have you, Mike.
Well, thank you.
So basically, we have done a lot of stuff on the podcast talking with division leaders and talking a lot about company stuff. But I think it's about time that we brought drivers onto the program to talk a little bit about your guys' experience being a driver. What is it that you've gone through? You've both been driving for a long time. Tell us a little bit about your history as a truck driver and sort of what really got you into the industry.
I started out of high school. I started working with Montgomery Ward's delivering furniture as a helper, and was asked about 6 months later if I would be interested in getting my driver's license. And I did, and I drove for about 7 years, a few more for Montgomery Ward's, and then I went into industrial gases, hauling there, and then I went into upper management from there for about 23 years, and then I'm back to driving.
That's an interesting transition. So what got you, Scott, from driving to management back to driving?
When COVID hit, things changed quite a bit, and I was actually at home building fishing rods for a while, enjoying that, and then it was time to go back to work, and wasn't sure I wanted back into management. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I discussed it, and I went back to driving because I always enjoyed it. So,
yeah. Well, awesome. And Mike, I know you've been a fixture of the company for decades now at this point, but how did you get your start in trucking and what brought you to the industry?
Well, my dad had a dump truck business, so right out of high school I started driving for him. And it just progressed from there.
Yeah.
My first 18-wheel job was I used to haul hay from Klamath Falls in a truck and a trailer. Interstate, I didn't start. Well, I can't remember when I started, actually.
It was a while ago.
It's been a while ago, yes.
Well, so I think one of the things that is really interesting, especially because of the history you both have with trucking, is you have seen a lot of changes to the industry over your lifetime.
Yes.
And I would love to hear you guys talk a little bit about, what are some of the big changes that you've really seen as trucking has evolved over the years, over the decades?
Regulation has changed dramatically from when I first started driving to what you go through now. It's tenfold at least. I mean, from what it used to be, that type of thing. And your shippers and receivers. It used to be a lot easier getting in, getting a load, getting out than what it is now. Mm-hmm. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Mike, what have you seen?
Back when I started, if there's a truck on the side of the road, you stopped and tried to help. Anymore, they don't even flash their lights for you anymore.
So that's an interesting point about the roadside. Have you seen that? I mean, because that obviously reflects a change, maybe some corporate culture, but probably also the driver and the quality and priorities of the drivers on the road today. I mean, you've been a coach for us for quite a while. Have you seen that change? I mean, even here at Combined as drivers, from your early days to today, the quality, the experience, the drive of drivers as they come through the door?
Yes.
I think the driver etiquette has changed quite a bit, and I think the work ethic in general has changed quite a bit from, even from the early 80s. Not just in driving, I think in general it has, but you do notice it in driving quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like he said, I mean, if you're on the side of the road, you're on the side of the road on your own. There's nobody going to be stopping. Now, is that because the clock's ticking and before it wasn't? Probably, but it also has to do with the type of people in the industry now too, I think. In some aspects, there's still a lot of good guys out there too, but it is more rare, I should say.
Well, I know, I think about my grandfather and the way he got into trucking. For him, with a very limited education, trucking was such an incredible opportunity for him to make money, to put food on the table, to take care of his family, and I feel like that drive, while it's still there in a certain degree, there's just a sort of a lower priority or a lower need. Education is more available, different kinds of jobs are more available, and so people who end up in trucking, it's just kind of a different world almost.
Yes. And it's also, I heard it described as job hopping. It's not, when you hire onto a company, it's not like you're there, this is it, I'm making a career here and this is where it's going to go. That type of mindset is, jumping ship is not unheard of. It's actually more common now than anything. Just moving on because they don't like this aspect or that aspect type thing.
Yeah. No, we've seen that a lot in new hires coming on, people who've had 16 jobs in the last 12 months. I mean, it's amazing how fast people change jobs.
In any industry, turnover and retention.
Back to that last question. Yeah, get on ramps. If there's a car trying to get on and he's not merging correctly, I've had students just keep right on going. No slow down, no nothing. Expecting the car. I mean, I view myself as a professional. If I ever hurt anybody doing my job, I'll quit. I don't care who's at fault. I'm the professional. So that's the way I've always driven. Yeah, so I'll help four-wheelers on, even if they're idiots.
Well, I would definitely say that the caliber of drivers in general has probably gone down. I mean, I feel like COVID was this nice sort of renaissance where no one was on the road and it was it was a good time. But people have gotten a lot stupider out there. No matter what you're driving, it feels like.
Yes. I would agree with that
I
completely.
agree,
Yeah.
definitely.
So one of the things that I see, and I've heard from a lot of drivers, that a big change, neither of you guys brought this up, but is the impact of technology on the driving job and what that's meant, from e-logs to cell phones to all these other kinds of things in the cab and around the job, connecting with family. How have you guys seen that change, and has that been a positive, a negative, just
Both.
different?
Both. Some of the safety features are, you question the word safety in them.
I hear that.
Other aspects of the technology, the ELDs, having done paper and having done ELD, I would prefer paper, but that's just, it's a little easier to get around. However, you have to roll with where the industry has gone also. So,
Yeah.
type thing. As far as home time, yeah, the communications, you're not stopping at a payphone once a day calling home type thing. It's a lot easier that way. So, some of the technology that we're starting to deal with as far as loads and all of that, I think are probably going to be a little bit more of a problem in the growing pain as they're evolving. But
So what do you mean by the technology and the loads?
I can give you a great example. One of our customers is switching to what they call AI loading management, where the computer's
dear.
actually telling them where to place pallets. They drive the forklift on the truck, but as soon as the green light hits is where they drop the pallet, because that's where the computer's telling them to do it. I had 3 reworks at one location because the computer said that I should have been 33,990 on my tandems at 40 foot, and it was 1,800 pounds off. And it took 3 different reworks just to get it. That's going to be a growing pain.
Yeah, I'd say so. Mike, how have you seen technology impact?
Well, like you said, it's good and bad. I used to prefer paper logs, but I get more sleep with electronic logs. Yeah, I used to stop and call dispatchers. Cafes had phones in the booths. You could call 800 numbers free. You call your dispatcher, and hopefully they had a load for you, or you told them where you were. Now you just stop and call from your phone in cab. I like it.
How has technology impacted your ability to stay in touch with sort of your loved ones on the other side? Because that's something that I've heard from a lot of drivers, is that, like, it used to be so hard to call home. You'd have to make sure you have the quarters, you'd find a payphone when you stop, and now you can do a video call from inside of your cab, and that's...
Yeah, I don't think that is as much of a negative on the end as being a driver as it used to be, because you're done driving for the day and FaceTiming home, and that it just makes it a little easier.
Communication's always a blessing and a curse, I find, because
It can be.
I know when I like to go out for a hunting trip or fishing trip, and it used to be I was reliably out of cell phone communication, and you couldn't check your emails or whatever. Well, today those towers are everywhere, and now there's I can sit on a remote mountain lake in Oregon, and I've still got cell phone service, 5G, 4 bars. Like it's wild.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now with satellite, I mean, it's just...
Oh yeah, it's gonna get even worse. But yeah, it's when anybody can reach you at any time. It's good and it's bad. Have you seen changes, Mike, in terms of your relationship with home, in terms of technology growth?
The wife calls me, or I call her once a day. Talk for about 30 minutes. It's all right.
Yeah, just all right.
Yeah, just all right.
So I think I want to kind of shift gears here and talk a little bit about kind of, based on that last question there, Mike, what is it that sort of your typical day or week is as you guys are out over the road? What does that look for you? I mean, I know with Scott, because you're in reefer, that's going to look a lot different than Mike and glass. So Mike, I don't know if you want to start and kick us off. Sort of what does your typical day look like?
Depending on what I'm doing, if I'm gonna load a load of glass, I'll get my trailer ready. I'll set up my racks and get all the equipment out, and then get backed into a bay and load the glass, secure it, pull it out, and strap or tarp it down. I used to be able to do all that and then leave, but anymore I got to spend the night. Get old.
Scott, what's a typical day look like for you?
Depending on if it's a load or a drop, cleaning trailer, making sure that's ready to go, pre-tripping. Usually you try and be stopped where you're closer to where you're picking up or where you're dropping off. If possible, that's getting even harder to do. But that's a typical day. It's easier to plan when you have a dispatch ahead type thing, so that makes it all depends on, that's how your week's going to go, is depending on knowing where you're going. So
because you guys obviously 10 hours a day off time, how do you guys usually spend that? I mean, I'm sure you're not sleeping 10 hours a night, but is that entertainment in the cab? Is that getting out and walking around? What is that off time? Oh, okay. Well, that keeps you busy there, Mike. Taking care of your dog.
Yeah, and he likes to walk, sniff, and he pees everywhere.
I'd imagine at any particular truck stop, there's got to be a lot of good smells.
Oh yeah. I go eat. The price of foods.
Yeah.
And the quantity of foods. Price is going up, and how much you get is going down.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of cooking in your cab, or
no?
McDonald's is your preferred, or
Denny's.
Denny's. Scott, I saw you shaking your head there at the McDonald's.
Yeah, no, I do quite a bit of meal prep and cooking in the truck. I don't try to fall for that too much.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite? Like, do you have a go-to meal?
I'm a taco nut. I love tacos, so that's one of my favorite go-tos. One on the road type thing. It's a lot easier to meal prep and have it, just ready to go for the week.
When you guys are at shippers, I know, Scott, you'd mentioned some of the challenges with shippers and receivers. I know long waits are an unfortunate reality of the trucking world today, from time to time at least. And so, is there any fun things that you guys have figured out how to do to occupy yourself during those times? And
depends on where you're at. Exercise is a big thing. If it's, if I'm at a location where I can walk the parking lot and while they're loading or unloading type thing, or walk out, in front of the location type thing, that is what I try, depending on weather too. But that's, watch a movie. All depends on where you're at. Who's going to keep you a long time and who's not. Yeah. So,
Mike, any tricks for the listeners?
No, I just walk my dog, walk around. Basically pretty boring stuff.
Thinking about sort of your job as a whole, I mean, I know you guys have been involved in the trucking industry for decades. Something's got to keep you doing it, keep you engaged with it. What would you say is the most rewarding part of being a truck driver?
Just enjoying, I come from a corporate world, so don't take this the wrong way, but being stuck in an office all day compared to being out on the road, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. So there's a little more freedom out there for that compared to 6 to 6 and meetings all day long. So
yeah, well, that's the truth for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely the freedom, the road, being your own boss, basically. As long as you're there on time, you pretty much do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of new drivers struggle with is the freedom, but there's also a responsibility that comes along with that. Like, you do have to actually still show up on time, and if you don't plan, it's hard to do that. I mean, as a coach, I'm sure you see that, unfortunately, all too commonly.
Being on I-5, I know all the routes and the times pretty much by heart.
I mean, you've been only doing it a couple of years, right?
Yeah, just a couple.
Yeah. So how have you seen that, as you talk to new drivers, less experienced drivers, what are the challenges that you see these new entrants to the industry facing? And, as a coach, how can you help them be more like you? The old hand who's been doing this successfully for 20 years.
Yeah. I'm old school. I have my dad's work ethic. But these new ones, I don't know. Some of them are great. I've had so great trainees and others not so much. But they're a little. Sometimes they're a little set back by how much work is involved in hauling glass.
Yeah. If there was one piece of advice you could give a new driver, what would it be?
Patience.
Scott, any thoughts on that?
I struggle with patience. Accountability. It's still a job, and you have these freedoms, but you need to understand that on the reefer side, I'm sure it's different than glass. You're a company representative. You still have to have your customer service skills. You still have to have your accountability to being there, and that is hard to find in people. They think they're going to get behind the wheel, and there's nothing there for them to do except get to A to B, and that's not the job.
Yeah, for sure. Thinking about the industry as a whole, is there anything, like, if you could change one thing about trucking?
I would switch some of the accountability back to the shippers and receivers.
Like the AI loading thing? Is that?
Well, the AI loading thing, but also, a lumper will have you unloaded in 45 minutes, but you're going to wait 3 hours for your paperwork, and they don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
There's not a respect there coming back of this guy needs to get going. So that would be a huge change in our industry.
That's why I like flatbeds. Usually when you show up with a flatbed load, they're happy to see you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
reefer is a different animal, that's for sure.
Yeah, because pretty much everything you do is appointment driven, and for Mike, it's like first come, first serve.
Yeah.
A lot of times, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I think a lot of people in the broader public, they don't really understand what it means to be a truck driver. Their experience with trucks is they're the big things that are in their way when they're driving down the highway. And so, something that has always been important to me is trying to help educate more people about the industry and what it really means to be a truck driver and the challenges that you guys go through every day. If there was one thing that, you could get the general public to understand, or thinking more broadly about it, what are the things that sort of really, when you talk to people who aren't trucking related, what are the things that really rub you the wrong way that they just don't seem to understand about our industry and the job that you do?
Buffer zones. Stay out of our buffer zone. That would be a huge improvement as far as going down the highway safety-wise. That is not respected whatsoever.
Blind spots.
Blind spots, yeah. That would be one. The other way I think would be to generalize the public is we can't run 24/7. We have to park somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And acceptance that there's trucks are going to be parked in certain areas would be very helpful.
Mike, same thoughts, or?
Yeah, I'd say the truck or parking. Sometimes you can't find a parking spot, and they don't want you to park on the get on or get off ramps, especially if it's late at night. Then there's no parking.
And some of it's understandable. I mean, who wants a truck with a reefer running parked down the street all night long? You know,
Yeah.
it's understandable. Some cities are passing these ordinances where it's not just no parking here, it's no parking citywide for commercial vehicles, and that's getting more and more popular.
Yeah, that's one of the things that drives me crazy that I've seen is a lot of people who think like food comes from grocery stores.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't. It has to start somewhere else before it makes its way to the grocery store. And if it weren't for the trucks that are on the road, there wouldn't be any food in that grocery store. And so, it's lovely to just say, man, I wish there wasn't trucks. But that also means like, man, I wish my hospitals didn't have medicine and my grocery stores didn't have food and my hardware stores didn't have lumber, because trucks bring all those things.
Yeah, and a lot of these city leaders and all of that, it's no skin off their back that, you're not allowed here. Well, you're not thinking about cost of goods in your city now because it's a higher cost.
Turning now to the future, make you put your speculative hats on. You've seen this industry change over decades. What do you think is coming up for trucking? What do we have to look forward to, both optimistically or pessimistically? What's coming into the industry?
Self-driving trucks.
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing to you?
Well, if a person needs a job, it's not a good thing.
Over the long haul, I think you're going to start seeing OTR probably diminish more.
Mm-hmm.
I think your LTL is probably going to rise a little more as far in the long term.
Yeah. More of a just-in-time.
Yes, I think that's where you're going to see. As far as the driverless trucks and the AI and all that kind of stuff. I mean, all you got to do is look at the stock market today. They're above their heels right now. There's going to be a little bit of a pullback on that, so there is going to be a little more time length before you start really seeing that quite.
Well, I think I tend to agree with you, Scott. I'm pretty pessimistic on driverless trucks because I think, we've been hearing for a decade that fully autonomous vehicles are next year. And, 10 years on, we still don't have even cars that are truly autonomous.
No.
They still need drivers in the cab. They still screw up in situations that even the worst teenage driver with a cell phone in her hand isn't going to make some of the mistakes self-driving cars do. So
they're out over their skis just a little bit on that. We haven't even gotten into a lot of the liability issues that are going to creep up with driverless vehicles. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I want to end on an optimistic note. I talk to a lot of drivers, and they have sort of goals that they want to achieve as part of their career. So many miles, this or that. Do you guys have specific goals that you're looking for as you, as you continue in your driving career?
Miles, sure, that's in the back of your mind a little bit. It'd be neat to get to 1 million miles or 2 million miles safely. I think is a thing. Being part of I guess just having a record of being on time and doing the job correctly is more important to me.
I agree. It'd be nice to get 3 million miles, but
You just hit 2 million miles, didn't you, Mike?
I did.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Realistically, I don't know if I got another 1 million in me.
Well, if you keep being a coach, you'll just get the young ones to get the miles for you. How about that?
There you go.
So, well, is there anything else that you guys would like to touch on about being a driver and the experience out there over the road before we wrap up?
I think just do the job as well as you can. Be safe about doing it, and probably be safe about doing it. There are so many issues that you see out there that are so preventable that it kind of gets a little mind-boggling. But just do the job the right way. You'll be all right.
Yep, I agree.
Well, Mike, Scott, thank you guys so much for joining us on the program today. It was really great to have your perspective here, and appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Mike and Scott, for the interview. Our next episode will be out on December 19th. If you have any questions for us, send them to us via Facebook or email them to us at cbtalk@combinedtransport.com. We appreciate your participation. It's your engagement that makes this podcast work. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And thanks for being a part of the Combined Transport team.